Tonight, a story straight out of a Hollywood thriller is unfolding in Alaska. Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport is closed, not for weather, not for technical reasons, but for national security. Military vehicles have locked down the perimeter, and fighter jets circle overhead. This sudden shutdown has sent shockwaves from Washington to Beijing and Moscow. What's happening in Alaska? And why is the world watching? The news broke just hours ago, on October 4, 2025. Initial reports were chaotic. A sudden FAA order grounding all flights, followed by images of military convoys rolling onto the tarmac. Travelers are stranded. The airport transformed overnight from a bustling hub to a fortress. This is more than a travel disruption. It's a signal that something significant is underway. Questions are piling up, but answers are scarce. A major international airport has been seized by the government under a veil of secrecy. The implications are staggering. Global commerce, military readiness, and daily life are all affected. Silence from Washington only fuels speculation online. Is this a response to a credible threat, a drill, or something else entirely? Our teams are on the ground in Anchorage and in Washington, working to uncover the truth. Tonight, we'll piece together what we know, examine the airport's strategic importance, and analyze the timeline of the shutdown. We'll talk to experts to help us understand the gravity of the situation. The story is developing rapidly, but one thing is clear. What's happening in Alaska tonight could have global consequences. Stay with us as we break down this unprecedented event. The world is watching, and so are we. This is a moment that could reshape the nation's future. Let's dive in. To grasp the magnitude of this shutdown, you need to understand Anchorage. Ted Stevens. Anchorage International Airport is a titan of global logistics, almost equidistant from North America, Asia, and Europe. For decades, cargo planes have relied on Anchorage as a strategic pit stop, making it one of the world's busiest cargo airports. A shutdown here is a body blow to global commerce, forcing companies to find longer, costlier routes. But it's not just about commerce. Anchorage shares runways with a major U.S. military base, making it a vital hub for force projection in the Pacific and Arctic. Closing Anchorage isn't just closing a civilian airport, it's hamstringing a critical military asset. For Alaska, the airport is a lifeline. Many remote communities depend on it for mail, food, and medical supplies. The closure isolates a significant portion of the state, cutting off essential services. This is a crisis with deep consequences for the economy, national security, and daily life. Anchorage is more than an airport. It's a global artery. Its closure is a shock felt around the world. The stakes couldn't be higher. October 4, 2025. At 2 p.m. Alaska time, the FAA issues a sudden flight restriction, grounding all civilian air traffic at Anchorage. Pilots and controllers expect a brief delay, but the order has no end time. Within an hour, military vehicles from Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson roll onto the airport. Military police establish a hard perimeter, blocking access roads. Inside, confusion turns to alarm. Passengers are held on planes, departures canceled indefinitely. Announcements are vague, urging calm. At 4:30 p.m., Homeland Security releases a brief statement. The closure is part of a pre-planned national security operation, with no details. Anxiety grows as the message confirms a deliberate, high-level action. By 6 p.m., authorities evacuate terminals, moving stranded passengers to temporary shelters. Luggage is left behind, with promises of security. By nightfall, Anchorage International is a ghost town. Under military control, runways empty, terminals dark. The world waits for answers. The future of this critical hub is uncertain. In a crisis like this, information is everything. But official silence is deafening. The only statement from Homeland Security confirmed a deliberate operation, but gave no details. The White House and Pentagon refused to elaborate, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories online. Security analysts say this level of secrecy is reserved for only the most sensitive national security threats. Even Alaska's governor was left in the dark, notified only moments before the shutdown. The disconnect between federal and state authorities underscores the extraordinary nature of this event. The closure of Anchorage is a wrench in the gears of the global economy. Cargo carriers scramble to reroute, adding hours and costs to flights that once relied on Anchorage as a refueling hub. Delays and expenses ripple down the supply chain, raising prices on everything from electronics to food. Locally, thousands of jobs are at risk, and the hospitality industry faces mass cancellations. The shutdown exposes the fragility of our just-in-time global economy. A single point of failure can cause cascading disruptions worldwide. Companies and governments will be forced to rethink their supply chain strategies. The economic fallout could be far greater than a few delayed packages. Anchorage's closure is a wake-up call for global logistics. The world is feeling the shockwaves. At its core, this is a national security crisis. Alaska is America's front line in the Arctic, close to Russia, China, and North Korea, and home to critical military infrastructure. Locking down a facility co-located with a major Air Force base suggests a threat close to home. Experts speculate. Was there a credible plot to attack the airport or base? Is this a hunt for a high-value target? The military's overwhelming response, ground troops, fighter jets, signals a real, imminent danger. This isn't a drill, it's a full-scale operation. The event forces a national conversation about protecting critical infrastructure from complex threats. Anchorage's shutdown highlights vulnerabilities in our logistical hubs. The front lines of security can be anywhere, even a cargo airport in Alaska. To make sense of this, we spoke with General Mark Hertling, retired U.S. Army Commanding General. He says the scale and secrecy suggest highly credible intelligence and a serious threat. The mix of civilian and military infrastructure at Anchorage complicates the response. Possibilities range from a dirty bomb on a cargo plane to intercepting a hostile operative. Globally, any military action here sends a signal to Russia and China, who are watching closely. The strategic implications are immense. How long will this last? General Hertling says it depends on the operation's nature. A search could take days. A targeted capture might resolve faster, but security will remain tight. Authorities must be certain the threat is neutralized before reopening. This is a situation measured in days, not hours. The world is watching every move. Anchorage is now a stage for global power dynamics. The stakes are higher than ever. While the world focuses on geopolitics, the human impact in Alaska is profound. For many, the airport is their only connection to the outside world. Residents like Sarah Jenkins and Nome are stranded, missing critical medical appointments. Families are separated, workers stuck, and supplies halted. Store shelves in remote communities could empty within days. The U.S. Postal Service has suspended mail delivery to much of the state. In Anchorage, military convoys and fighter jets create an atmosphere of unease. Temporary shelters are filled with stranded travelers, uncertain when they'll leave. Local authorities and volunteers work tirelessly, but the uncertainty is a heavy burden. Alaskans are resilient, but this challenge is unprecedented, imposed from afar, shrouded in secrecy. Economic and personal costs mount by the hour. The people of Alaska are caught in a crisis they can't see or understand. They wait for their lifeline to the world to be restored. As darkness falls, Anchorage International remains under military control. We've laid out what we know: a sudden shutdown, massive military deployment, and a wall of silence. Experts believe this is a response to a grave threat, but the central question remains: what's really happening? The coming days will be critical, with mounting pressure for answers. This event will force a reassessment of security and supply chain vulnerabilities. The Anchorage shutdown is a wake-up call for the nation and the world. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as they come. For now, the world waits and watches.